Good afternoon. Thanks everyone for attending today. My name is Tiffany Tarr. I'm Distributor Central. We've got a lot of people joining today's session, so we're going to give everybody just like another 30 or 45 seconds to finish getting logged in. But we can go ahead and do some housekeeping kinds of stuff while we're letting the rest of the group get signed into the session. My name is Tiffany Tarr. I've been with Distributor Central for 15 years. I've joined today with Chris Schlimmer, who's our Vice President of Development. Who's instrumental in some of the fundamental reasons why we're making an adjustment to how you collect product information together and apply it to websites, and instrumental in making that a lot easier for distributors to be able to do. We've also got Natalie Clark today. Natalie works really closely with our marketing department and has a strong background in websites. And if you've attended any of our recent webinars with like the graphics bundles or customizing websites, you've probably had talked to Natalie on those sessions. So she's going to be presenting today as we go through today's new tools and talk a little bit about the release that'll be happening probably next week and how it will impact you as a distributor if you're building new websites. Today's session is being recorded, so we will be sending this out to everyone after the session. There will also be next week on our help guides at help.distributorcentral.com will be help documentation on the new product collection tool. So we're still, there's a lot of people still logging in, but we're getting ready to get started. Today we're going to talk about the new product collection tool. If you've had, well, let's just finish up some housekeeping. If you're on today's session and you don't have a Distributor Central account or you're not very familiar with Distributor Central, please go to distributorcentral.com and you can sign up and we'll make sure to get you usernames and passwords. Everything that we do is a free resource for you as a distributor. If you are on today's session and you have had a website on Distributor Central, you've probably used one of our templates and applied catalogs and segmented products with catalogs to apply to your website. That is the big fundamental change that's going to be happening in next week's release. So catalogs is no longer the way that product collections will be managed. They'll now be managed with a product collection. And it's a much easier process for you as a distributor to be able to get product information and groups together to be able to apply to your website. Now, as we're going through today's training session, if you would use the chat functionality to send in any questions that you have, we'll be sure to answer those as we keep going. Natalie, do you want to go ahead and show your screen and we'll get started with actually, Chris, before we do that, would you like to talk a little bit about just why we made a change from using catalogs to collections and how that makes distributors' lives easier?
Sure. My name is Chris Schlimmer, VP of Technology here at Distributor Central. My background is in e-commerce for quite some time. I've run some pretty large e-commerce websites over the years. And so when I started Distributor Central about 6 to 7 years ago, we wanted to basically make our website platform one of the best in the industry as well as just in general. We're kind of on par with what a Wix or a Shopify can do in terms of functionality. And so our product data is, of course, very important to that, especially to the distributors. And so our goal with this product collection manager was to make it extremely easy for all you to be able to create very customized collections of products to sell to your customers. And so our previous catalog builder, while it was fairly well functioning, there was a lot of more complexity around it in terms of adding product to it. There was some limitations on the number of products you could have in a catalog and things like that. And so we really wanted to take all those barriers down and be able to not only build a simple interface, but to be able to allow our customers that want to go even further with that to really have some very granular control over sets of products for their website. And so what you'll see in a minute here is a single interface to manage all your product collections going forward for your website. One spot to manage all that. You can be as simple as I want to sell all 310,000 products of ours. Or you can go all the way down to saying, I want this and this and this, and be very, very specific about that. So I'll hand that back over to Natalie, and I'll chime in when necessary to talk about any of the other functionality.
Okay, so my name's Natalie Clark. I work for Distributor Central. So I'm just going to give you some quick scenarios of some different ways that you can use the new collections manager, as well as where you find it, and then also how to preview it and apply it to your website. So once you get
Natalie,
logged in,
just before we get started, just so everybody on the session knows, if you've already built catalogs, that conversion has been done, and that has already been converted into collections in your account. So none of the work that you've been doing or have done over the years is lost. So I don't want anybody to panic about that.
yes, and then the same with anytime if you're familiar with our product list tool and using that to add to websites, anytime you create that product list, you can still use that functionality to add to your website, and it's going to automatically create that as a collection as well in our collections manager. Okay, so once you get logged into Distributor Central, the way that you will create catalogs now is you're going to go to websites and then hosting manager. And then you're going to hit manage. Oops, I hit something. You're going to hit manage next to the website that you're wanting to create these collections for. And once you'll see, once we release this, you'll see this new product collections area. You click manage here. So this here, it already shows this work from home collection. This was a product list that I had created for a special niche website. And so it's automatically also added it to my collections. But so say you are used to creating preferred supplier catalogs, you can still do that. And so you would go in here and you hit add product collection. If you click this little tool, you can name it. So preferred, I'm going to name it preferred products. And then you hit this add filter. And then these are all of the filters. They're dynamic in how they work. A lot of these are set at the supplier level, but then there's also just some general ones that you can use. So in this case, I'm going to hit supplier. I can include suppliers or I can exclude suppliers. So if for some reason there's some suppliers that I absolutely do not like to work with, I don't want to work with them anymore, you can hit exclude and you can start typing them in here and it will exclude. But so if I want to choose my favorite suppliers and I only want them on this website, you can start typing and hit the plus. And so it's very dynamic, and you know how you just like doing a product search. As you're typing, it's going to start bringing those in. Once I have those, I hit save. And you don't have to just stop there. If you wanted to even get even further into this, and you only wanted certain categories to show up of certain types of products, you can choose, you know, the different categories. Any of these filters you can keep building on with a specific collection. Once I have this the way I want it, I can hit preview, and it's gonna pull that into where I can view those products on my website. It's gonna give you a little preview. It's not actually gonna push out to my customers yet to what they see until I go back and hit publish. Another example is say you don't want to have apparel on your website. Maybe you do apparel in-house. You can add another collection, add filter, and go to master category, and you can hit this apparel, cap, and hat. And I'm going to choose to exclude those. I'm going to save it. And now I've created a collection that's only going to pull up products that are not in that category. Say, for example, I didn't want apparel, but I wanted hats to show up. You could remove that filter, and instead you could do the filter by a subcategory. And so now I could say exclude, and I'm going to type apparel, and I can add all of these apparel subcategories. And so then now I'll still have hats on my site, but I won't have the apparel. So then now I'm going to name that that's just so I know the difference whenever I preview. So now whenever I click on that, those normal apparel items are not going to show up there. Another example that's pretty cool is I'm gonna hit, you can add a filter to where you hit this new product filter, and I'm gonna say true because I want it to include new products. This is gonna automatically curate any new products a supplier has added in the last 60 days. So this is something that's gonna be very dynamic, and it's always gonna change. So I'm gonna name this new products. And so then now I can preview this here and see all the new products that have been added in the last 60 days. And so now I'm going to publish this. So then now this will actually send an update so my customers would even be able to see these whenever, if they go to my catalog page. One way to now apply these to your website, if you go back into the hosting manager, and you go and you actually pull up the website editor. Say I want to feature the new products so that I have something dynamic on my homepage that's always going to kind of be changing. I've already got this, it's a product ribbon banner. I'm going to update this so that it's going to start pulling in the new products instead. So this used to say catalogs, and now you'll notice anything in here that said catalogs is going to be replaced with collection. And so now I'm going to hit this new products. So now I've updated this banner to where the new products are always going to show up. I'll do a live preview. And so now all of the new products are going to already populate here, and they're always going to update based on the last 60 days. Say I wanted to add a link. If I had, maybe I have a product link that has apparel, drinkware, that kind of thing. You can also still add and link to those. So I'm going to hit add a link. We'll do preferred products. And so now this used to say catalogs, and it's going to be where you can choose from your collections. So I'm going to choose preferred products from that collection that I created. And now I have a link to that product set. So that makes it a quick and easy way if you want to really filter down and create those different product links on your homepage. You can get very specific with what you're wanting to do. Okay, I'm going to go back in here. So I'm going to close this. Another example of using the new collections manager is get it to load here. Say I want to have a tab on my website that is based off of price. I can hit add collection. I'm going to name it under $1. Add filter. Use the price filter. I'm going to put 0 to $1. Save. If you wanted to even make it just drinkware under $1, then you can go in and you can further do that by choosing the drinkware master category. If I wanted to even further filter that, I could go into subcategories of drinkware. Say I want plastic cups. So it tells me that there's 270 products currently in that filter that I've had. So now I could add a drinkware tab and I could have under $1 and it would pull back those results. So I'm gonna hit preview. Under $1. And it's going to show me all the plastic cups that were under $1. Another great way to use this tool is if you're using our customer presentation websites. I've already got a customer presentation website created, but now I need to choose the products that my customer is wanting. So I will go into that presentation site, hit manage, and then in the collections, I'm going to hit manage. So say my customer is wanting some apparel, but they only want name brand apparel. I can create a collection and I can only choose certain brand names. So say they only want a brand, they only want Adidas or Nike. So I'm going to do Adidas. And then Nike. Hit save. Name this brand name. So there's tells me there's 184 products that are Adidas or Nike. I'm going to preview that. I think I have to add more than one collection first, or it's because of this top. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so another scenario is my customer wants some pins. Well, we all know that there's thousands and thousands of pins to choose from. So you can use this to really dive in and only give them hundreds of options rather than thousands of options, or however you would like to do it. But so I'm going to name this pins, add filter. So say they only want to order 250, I can do minimum quantity, put in 250. They also want it to be under $2, put 0 to $2. Then I'm going to use the master category filter for writing instruments. I'm going to do a subcategory filter for pens. I'm going to do ballpoint pens, and I'm going to give them gel pens. Then say I have a preferred pen supplier that I really only like to order my pens from these suppliers. Then I can further do that, and I can choose that supplier. So say I only want them to see pens from Gold Star and Hub. You can do that. Hit save. So now they're only going to get to choose from 141 pens rather than thousands of pens. Publish that. Preview. And so now they're only seeing those pens and those polos, or those brand name products. Say they wanted some hats, but they specified that they only like trucker hats. And you can do add collection. I can do a keyword filter in this case and put in trucker. I could do hat. It shows me there's 5,841 with that. Probably want to filter that down by subcategory and choose hat, caps and hats, or hats. Same goes here. If I have a certain supplier that I like to use for these types of hats, I can add that supplier filter. And then publish that. And so now I've completely customized these products that I can now send this presentation site to my customer, and it's only going to have their criteria for the products that they're looking for. Another filter, if any of you guys have been following us with us doing the COVID-19 template for PPE products, we actually created a special collection for that. That's an internal collection. And anytime we do these, which we're gonna continue to do, you can always add those to your website from a collection. And that filter is this DC curated themes. And so now you can see there's the COVID-19 one. We'll keep adding those as the needs arise. I think we're going to try to do a political themed one, and then also like a school spirit for once school gets back in with everybody being out. They're going to be gung ho on, school spirit, sports, that kind of thing. So if you currently have a website and you're wanting to hurry up and get the PPE, the work from home, the takeout and delivery type products, once we release this next week, all you have to do is come in here and use this DC curated themes and publish it to your website, and you'll have those products to where then you could go and add that link like I had showed a while ago. That is all that I had to show. Were there any questions?
Natalie, will you do an item number filter? Let's just say that you are putting together a presentation site for a customer and you've got like just a couple of items that you want to pop on there.
Okay. Let me find some ideas for.
She's pulling up DCMKT. If you ever look at DCMKT, this is where all of our email blasts are housed from just suppliers that are sending out email blasts through Distributor Central. So it's a really great resource if you maybe just forgot the flyer, or you wanted to go and look at a whole bunch of things for ideas, it's a really great resource to go back and use as you're trying to think of filters or collections you want to add to your website.
Okay, so I'm trying to find something that has the item numbers. I actually think Snugs has their item numbers or just their names, so I'll try that. So if you have the item number, you do that in a keyword, right? Am I right, Tiffany or Chris?
The easiest way of doing this is actually using a product list. So I mentioned in one of the questions that were asked, I can take over and go through that if you'd like.
Okay.
Or you can, basically it's just building a product list and then adding it to a collection, which is the easiest way of adding product. So
Okay, I can do that real quick. So that was, so it was from Snugs, so I can start there. Flight flap.
So while that's loading, basically product lists, we're going to use that term in a minute here. The term product list is used for specific lists of products, especially like for certain SKUs and things like that. The product list manager that you're seeing this ribbon down below, we've had that within Distributor Central for I'd say about a year or two. And that's where you can create quotes and view and search and email and things like that. And we have this new button called Add to Website. And that's the one that you will use to add it to a website after you've built out that list.
So I'm just
Chris,
typing
one of the
in
best things about
those
this
items.
is that there's no limit anymore to the numbers of products into a collection, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, there's no limit anymore. You can have thousands of products in a list. If you're a company that sells literally specific products SKU by SKU, lists are your new best friend. DC never allowed that in the past. You only could do up to about 75 in a list, and now we allow unlimited amounts. So that's a lot more powerful. And then you could also once that becomes part of your website, you can still add filters on those lists as well. So all the filters that you saw earlier as part of a collection, it actually becomes part of a collection. And then you can further segment that by like price or anything like that, but the lists are how you start.
Okay, so once I've got those specific products, you just like a normal search and you hit this add to list and it's going to pull it down here. You can save it if you want to save it with a specific name, or you could just add to website and you can give it a name here. And then you can tell it what website you want it to go on to. It's going to go ahead and push that to the website. I don't actually have to do anything else to get it there, but then it's also going to have it in the collections manager too. So here's that list that I just created, and it tells me it's a product list. So maybe later I may want to also add some extra filters to that list. You can still always edit that as well. Any other questions or anything else that I need to cover?
We know that this is just a little bit of a switch in the way that products have been pulled together in the past, but it's just so much easier and much more robust, and it will give you as a distributor the ability to much more quickly react when your customers need specific products or as suppliers are adding in new ideas into their product sets on Distributor Central. If you have questions, a great resource is help.distributorcentral.com. There will be help guides and video tutorials on this new tool. It is not live in your account yet. We wanted everybody to see it first and have an opportunity to digest it and ask questions in today's webinar before we roll it out next week. So you will see an announcement about that, and then you'll see documentation and guides on how to use it once it rolls out. Distributor Central, I'm getting a lot of questions through the chat in regards to how much does this cost. Distributor Central is a free resource to you as a distributor. Everything that we've talked about today is a free tool. We host distributor websites. It is a product research solution, quotes, proposals, contact management, and also an order processing system. And it is done at absolutely no cost to every distributor in the industry. So if you don't have an account, just go to distributorcentral.com and register, and we'll get your account and your username and password sent out over to you. I think that we've answered most questions. There's a couple of questions about creating lists to send over to customers without actually having to publish it to a website. You can still do that. So the way that you do that is still by going into Distributor Central and doing a product search and pulling and adding them to a list, so pinning them down to your list board. And then you can email those over to your customer via PDF or an email, and still send them over ideas outside of creating them either as a presentation website or as an additional subset of products on an existing website. I think that we've answered most questions. Chris, did we miss anything from just like an overall technical level that we need to talk about?
One thing I wanted to kind of mention were the side benefits of this collection manager release. What you're seeing right now is, of course, is the biggest piece of this release. Collection manager is a brand new feature for us. But in the back end, what comes along with this is a brand new search engine as well. We have completely revamped the way our search engine operates and speed-wise. It's still the same data, of course, that's being fed to it, but you're going to notice some substantial performance increases to our search engine as well. It'll also allow you to search over a lot more products on your website without having to have limits to that search. So you should notice that almost immediately once we roll out that next week. The other thing that's going to benefit everyone that has a website on Distributor Central is we'll be offering sitemaps. This is something that's we haven't been able to do in the past until now, which means that Google and other indexing systems like Bing and others will be able to find all your products on your website extremely easy. So this is a tool that is highly recommended by these search indexing companies like Google and Bing. And we'll be able to offer that again free of charge, all automatic. It'll be updated in real time, and Google will just find it once we release next week.
There's a couple questions still about hosting. So if you are, everything that we do is free for distributors, including web domain hosting. So we are not a registrar, so you can't purchase a domain from us. However, you can, if you've purchased a domain somewhere else, GoDaddy is I think the only one I'm personally familiar with. Once you've purchased that domain, Distributor Central will host it for you at no cost. So we'll be your hosting service as well. You can host as many domains as you want. You could also use subdomains, and we see that a lot with distributors that might be targeting niche markets. A way to extend the usage of their domain is to use just as a subdomain. So an example would be dcpromosite.com is a holder domain that will provide to you as a distributor if you don't want to go purchase your own. If I were to create a website on DC and I called it Tiffany's Promos, it would be tiffany'spromos.dcpromosite.com. So we will give you a holder domain if you don't want to go out and purchase your own, but we will also be the hosting service on your domain as well, and we do that hosting at no cost. We have distributed, there's a couple of questions in regards to like assistance in getting started. Our website templates are super simple. There's several templates in there. The website wizard, and we've got a ton of training sessions on those as well. The website wizard is basically just about 3 or 4 click process where you choose the template that you like, apply your logo, it will automatically update headers and footers with your company information. Or we have a program where we've got templates that we can send you all the information and directions on it, that you can send us your logo and we'll put together that template for you. So I think there's like four templates that we've got, like a quick start program, or if you send us your logo, we'll get your website template set up and get you going pretty quickly. Also, our support team is outstanding.
Anybody who's wanting to take advantage of that quick start website program, you can just send an email to info@distributorcentral.com and say, I want you guys to put together a quick start website for me. We'll send you the links of the templates available to choose, and then you'll let us know what one you want, give us your logo, and either tell us what colors you want it to be, or we'll just pull the colors from your logo, and we'll get that initial setup turned around for you really quickly.
And if you want to go take a look at prior webinars that we've been doing an absolute ton of webinars over the last couple of weeks, our YouTube channel is a great resource. I think our handle is youtube.com/Distcent, DISTCENT. Natalie, when we put together today's follow-up email with the recording, can we make sure to include that?
Yes, and then we've also got the go-to stage that pulls from the directly from the webinars, that we can send them that also.
Sure. Again, if you've got questions, info@distributorcentral.com is a great place to send those questions. Our support team is ready to help. Also, if you were interested in that quick start website, info@distributorcentral.com. We will have more training sessions next week centered around the collection manager and website setup. So distributorcentral.com will have our listing for next week's webinars, probably out tomorrow, because it's waiting on me. So tomorrow we'll have all of the next week's webinars will be listed on our website. A couple other places where you can always see us as well is there's a promo show. So promoshow.com, we will have representation there next week as well if you've got questions that you want to pop in and talk with anybody about. I'm just kind of scanning through to see if there's any questions.
There's also a handout section that has this contact sheet that you can download. It's got my personal email, and then it's got our support email and our support phone number, as well as that URL to all of our help guides. But if you want the website set up, send it to the info@distributorcentral.com.
I'm going to put into the chat as well a link to our YouTube channel real quick as well, so that you've got that, but we'll put it on the follow-up for today as well. I think we've got everything answered. If we've missed something, we will for sure follow up. But if you've got questions, please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll make sure to answer. Oh, Natalie's got it pulled up faster than I do.
This is the go-to stage. This is
that's the stage.
It actually has more. It's more up to date than the YouTube channel right now.
Next week, all the documentation for the new collections manager will be at help.distributorcentral.com.
Okay, I just dropped this link in the question section. Everybody should be able to see it.
All right, I think we've answered all the questions. We really appreciate everyone's time today. Keep looking back in the website templates for new niche market websites. Keep looking at help.distributorcentral.com for guides on every aspect of Distributor Central. What we've talked about today is just a small fraction, because it's just a switch in the way that the website products are curated. Distributor Central has so many more tools that we didn't even talk about today. But please take a look at those guides or help.distributorcentral.com to help answer questions, or feel free to reach out to us. All right, thanks so much for your time, everybody. Have a great afternoon.